Hello, hello. Actually, let me make sure my sound is good. That's what I should have been doing. All right, I had to recharge and reboot. Testing, testing. Let me see how my sound is. Yes, the sound is good. Hey, hello, happy Monday. Happy Monday. I for today, for this Ask Me Monday, I wanted to go over some of what we already are covering in the boot camp. I feel it's important information I'd like to share. So let me know if you're watching. Let me know if you're watching this replay. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to pull up. Yes, here we go. All right. So, what I want to talk about quickly today are some best ways to prepare and prevent issues. Okay. Issues consistently see, issues that our pros are consistently fixing, or other pros. And so, there's some that are so easily preventable that I wanted to put it in together and lump them together because we talked about preparation yesterday in the boot camp. Today we're talking about prevention. So I have four main areas that we're going to look at. I'm also going to show you some visuals that I couldn't pull up in the last one. So if some of y'all know um, some of the pictures that I've shown, we'll go show that as well. All right. So I want to get into it. Actually, you know what? Put in the comments where you're from. Say hi. I'm gonna get set up really quickly and let Instagram know where they can join us. Okay. So let me know you're able to watch. Let me know how it looks. I'll put it here. Okay. Who is watching? So I want to ask whoever who's watching if you've had any particular challenges that you've experienced. And I said prepare. I cannot multitask. Put them in the chat, drop them in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. I'm gonna go ahead and get started because I'm gonna be quick because we do have boot camp tonight. If you are part of this boot camp group, I will see y'all later on, and we're gonna delve more into prevention today since we've already talked about preparation yesterday. Let me prop you up. Right here. IG. It's a weird filter. Okay, and let's go. All right. So, one of the best things, the best word of advice I can share to anyone about prevention and preparation is to understand what you are defining Microlocs as. So, if you're looking for someone and you're expecting to have a certain result, then make sure you're on the same page about what people are defining it as because the definition has become a lot of bit confusing. So, are they talking about size wise? Are they talking about the method and technique? And what do they mean by method and technique? What are they using? What are you using? What are your goals? How do you want your locks to look as far as sizing, as far as consistency, as far as a bunch of factors? So, that's really important. That's really going to help you get the best results if you start off having a clear definition. Um, and then on a pro level, I tell pros to really clearly define what they're providing. Okay. So with Microlocs, there's a standard that we have for Microlock mastery that we go over more in depth, but it does include knowledge about ideal methods and techniques and tools, etc. So there is a consistency in it. But what sometimes, which is our foundation for what when the brands that we have with microlocks.com and microlocks.com all these years ago. That was at the formation of it. But now, as a term, a lot of people, it could be like a open-ended kind of thing. Like it could have an unpredictable definition. So someone might go and get it started one way, or the results may look different across people. Um, I see a lot of things. And so it may or may not incorporate best practices. So you got to really understand and really know exactly what is meant. And sometimes I've had to deal with being, thinking that, oh yeah, sorry about that. Second rate. It was like, oh, well, if you get Microlocs and it's cheaper and it's not as this. And I'm like, huh? That's all I've ever turned my hair to be since the start. So I probably knocked the sound off on IG. Join us over in the Facebook group or YouTube. Um, I probably hold on, yeah, I just wanna not get that off. Have what was the point I was trying to make with a lot of things that I've seen that I just stayed focused and I didn't really let that bother me because I knew a lot of the work I was doing is rehabbing and repairing, and I put an emphasis on quality. So, but I still hear it. I still hear the mumbles about, and the thing is, I can't blame some of the reputation that Microlocs has subsequently gotten from what I was branding to what I see other things being done. I can see how people will say those things because it does look inconsistent. So you got to be clear about that first. That is going to be super important for some people's experiences. Um, After you get over that, so I put the X because we don't have just haphazard. So with the methods, the very first thing that I want people to know in order to properly prepare and prevent issues is to know your method, right? So what are you going to be using and why? And if you are in the boot camp or any of our programs, or have seen any of my lives before, you know that there's an ideal method I have for the standard quality of Microlock. So there's a lot of different things being done. So if you really just know exactly what you are doing and the outcome of that. Okay, so really examine why you're using the method you are using or plan to use. So you got to ask yourself, y'all. I'm trying to fix this ponytail because it's looking a little lopsided. But I really want you to ask yourself, why am I truly using this method? And can I be certain of its results? Um, that's the general question. But I think more specifically, are there long-term results? What happens with particular issues? How can those be avoided? And then on a deeper level, I like to say be match the method that you're having the locks put in need to match how you're maintaining it if you want consistency. So the method used to start should be consistent with what is used to maintain and for a small size lock like this. In general, with highly skilled people can go between, like, for larger size locks, I had a client that was palm rolled and interwoven, not quite, well, we called it interlock for his size. And but I noticed I had to do certain things in order for it to stay seamless because there could be tension differences. And so there was just little nuances to know, but he also had larger locks. So when you get on a small scale, where strength is important, excuse me, I'll hold on a second. Then it's important to know your methods. Okay, I pulled that from a slide. Y'all know I don't recommend two string twist sprays or comb coils for small size locks. We'll go more into that in the boot camp. But if you've seen a lot of other methods being done by others, especially DIYers, but sometimes it's confusing if you start seeing pros do it. And not there's I like to say when you get to this niche of really small locks, some of the traditional lock theory is not going to apply the same way. So someone could essentially be a loctician, but maybe still not well versed on how the process of these small locks really evolve and long term. So seeing hair span over years, decades even, and the same consistent results. So you really understanding that is going to be important. But I want to hop off of this for a minute. What's the next one? Oh, Yes, the long term. So this is one of the I think one of the photos I was trying to show in another slide, but the puffy ends and the thin roots, which could potentially be needing refinement and repair. That looks like an unfinished. Let me make myself bigger because I'm going to go to the next slide. That's like unfinished in our definition of standards. Okay. So the next thing I want y'all to know your tools. Really understand when you want to get really high. I think more advanced level knowledge is understanding the impact that tools could potentially have. And so when you are getting ready to prepare to do a service or maintain a service, knowing and having your tools ready and understanding that is going to be really important. I don't know. So I'm not seeing any comments. Who's watching? Comment and let me know this comment thing is working. And it's likely I don't see it. Let me know. I really like to engage. I want to hear your feedback too. So I'm just giving y'all a taste of what we discussed in the boot camps, but I do want to know that y'all can hear me okay and what your experiences are. If you agree, if you disagree, share it. I'm only going to be on for a couple minutes. Hi, Nicole from West Palm Beach, Florida. Thanks for engaging. All right. So tool discussion. And this is one thing that hold on, because I have a mirror effect. So I see a lump here and I'm trying to smooth it. Okay, it goes that way. So I keep on pulling it the other way. I slept on these curls with no bonnet and they are all mushed up. But I was like, I don't know when I want to wear it straight. I kind of still like the volume of it, but it is getting a little weathered. It's like a weather worn look. Okay. So when I was trying to make knowing your tools and the nuances and intention and how that could look. I can eyeball someone's hair, and I've been able to do that for years and tell if they've used a sister lock tool or another tool type that I used to distribute or something in that family. That was before a lot of the other tools have come on. We actually broke down tools on day one of our boot camp. Oh, I see some familiar names. Hey, Tet Paitu. Hi, Trina LaSalle. It's all right. Y'all know I'm like, who's watching it? Can y'all comment? Tracy McIntosh. Hi, everyone. So, yes. Okay, Artilis. Welcome. Okay, family. Oh, y'all are watching on YouTube. Oh, cool. I wonder if it's streaming in the group. I don't know. That's why I said I'm going to go on YouTube as well. But yeah, the tool discussion is really important. And so fast forward to the beginning of me branding Microlocs as an option that was more expansive because I didn't want people to be limited to having to use a tool that maybe did not work right and then have to be secretive. Y'all had a whole bunch of videos years ago that I think it was controversial because it made people mad, but I was seeing it and I was like, I did not want to be a part of having to use something that didn't work and having to sneak behind and not tell clients. The clients were confused, or they just it's just if something is not working, it's okay to use something is better because tools do matter and people see that and people know that. I don't restrict people in our program, but I do have a tool type that I say would be ideal based on everything that we know. So you make a professional judgment about what you put it together with what you experienced and what has been shown through the years of whatever, best practices, and you make that best decision for yourself. But tools are important. And so that's why I just provide tools so that you don't have to go looking around. But I do see some things, and I've heard of tools ripping hair out. I've seen tension differences, and if you are like me and other people who really like, I'm not a perfectionist, but I just have an eye, and I like refinement. When the quality of something that costs a lot as much as this, especially, and that's as permanent as this, so I'll look and I'll see um what do I see going on? And so the tool can actually be creating issue. Let's get to the next point. Knowing your process. So how is this hair going to evolve over time? milestone markers, those are important, how things affect the quality environmentally, a whole bunch of different things. Like, what's this process going to look like? Not just ugly stage seeds, but there's so much more to it. If you really break down the stage, general stages, and then what impacts those stages. Hair texture does, a bunch of other things. Um, but when I talk about the stages, I talk about the stages for the ideal method. So I don't talk it hair locking has maybe a general stage, but it is going to be different if you're laying a foundation, let's say with twist versus an interwoven method. It is going to hit stages differently. It's going to look differently. So it's not going to really apply if I share information on our best practice and standards about locking stages, what to expect, how long a hair is going to lock. It can be extended out. Braids can take some braids, like it'll be locked at the roots. Yeah, you'll see maybe you'll see locked or fuzzy hair, but you might still see braids. And how is that going to lock? And how is that going to look in comparison? So there's so many different things that are thrown in when it comes to those other methods. So I say know your process. Or try to understand the process. If you're doing something you don't know what kind of tool am I going to use to maintain, or how is this going to look 6 months in, a year in, based on my hair texture, also have color, like all those things should be um, some knowledge about what could potentially happen before you even go forward. Because so yeah, we'll know hair is texturized by lighting color that's lightened, lifted. Um, but it may be different for your hair texture, or it may be another process that you have to experience. It's something that you might not know. And also, that hair might break off easily because maybe you're not maintaining and caring for your colored hair the way you would if it were loose natural, because you're not using the same products. So you want damaged locks, all that can factor in. I'm giving y'all little little things that I've seen and experienced um, through the year. That hair will break off faster. And knowing your support. So who is who is going to be helping? Do you need any help or support? Um, Things can come up that you never expected. And to those who care to do this on a pro level, support is crucial, unless you want to be known as a person that doesn't like do the best quality work. Like, you have to get some support from someone that you would some I would say other advanced, highly skilled professionals, whether it's your network, and not just a random group on because there's a lot of things that people say that may not have the background or the experience to fully say. So you want to make sure you have a great support system if you run into something. I was constantly running into things, especially in my like first 5 years. Um, and it still wasn't what's happening now. So it starts to evolve when things change around us. So technology changed and what people were seeing changed. And then all of a sudden we had DIY installs that were walking into our spaces and we're like, "Well, how do I fix this?" So we do have, I was gonna show y'all some pictures. So we do have pros that were trying to figure out how do I fix two-strand twist. Essentially, it's not locking, so it's essentially like a holes that could there was just holes. So although we may know how to do holes, we may find that what's presented in front of us are new or based on things that are happening. Okay, how do I do this? I don't want to make myself. Okay, so so two-strand twist. Like, can I zoom in? No, I don't think I can. What's that? No. So, okay, yeah, cool. Want to interlock the root, but this is all coming loose here. What can we do to make it not come loose so fast? Are we gonna just keep twisting it? Because you know that is if twisting it is not staying, you have to know what else you're going to do. Should I take down the whole lot? Should I try? How do I put the pattern back? It's so important to know if, especially if you are starting it. Like I say, the method used to start should be consistent with what is used to maintain. So whether when you are, I call these shortcuts. I'm be honest. I'm for a pro. Anyone who's a pro should be professionally trained in how to do this, and they should know that this is a potential problem, and they would avoid it by not even doing it. So I'm not even doing the lock like this. But it's done. So now you're trying to address it. And so the best way to prevent anything is to not do it. But the second best thing is to know how to address and fix it. If you see it coming, you know that potentially this could happen. You're going to be doing things in the process to not have that happen like that, especially like that. So braids, oh yeah, and coming out and being fuzzy and having just really not just understand how to address these things, going in and putting in a pattern. It's not in these aren't this is not just simply braided back because that was causing the problem. So this is actually putting in a pattern that we're going to be using to maintain the roots with. So at some point it's as consistent as possible. This is some of what we talked about. If you went into the free webinar that I had, Keys to Microloc Mastery, we went in more detail. So I'm pulling some of these slides. If you did see that or you missed the replays, this is some of it, but we went way in. I covered things that I never covered publicly in a setting like that. But I think it needs to be said at this point. If a lot of people are being negatively affected, you got to make sure that you understand DIY and social media advice versus solid professional advice. You take information and you have to be discerning. Solid professional advice. So even if someone says they've been doing locks for 20 years, what kind of locks have you been doing for 20 years? And what results have you consistently seen and what support, like what ongoing professional development are you still doing? Because things are changing constantly. There's so many new ways to do things, so many new types of locks, different things that are coming out. So solid professionals will make an investment in some sort to understand trends, to understand long-term results. Just there's just a kind of foundational way you learn and you figure out if you're going to incorporate it. And then if you see people experimenting on themselves or trying, doing something new, but you don't see long lasting results, you got to just discern. Oh, okay, that was her journey. Okay, but that doesn't mean it's gonna work for everyone that has best practices because it could be causing a lot of heart headache, and heartbreak for others who thought that that was gonna work for them too. Standards, why they are important. Understand standards. If you're gonna make an investment, ah, girl, y'all drop. Okay, drop. Stop. Nope. Mm-mm. If I tell you my mentor professionalism has been Miss Marquetta Breslin. She has been like, "Uh, thank you for catching me live." I had to stop and drop the mic. I didn't want to make a noise so it was invisible because I know you are she's a pro. And I really add value. So when I tell y'all I had my mentor in this locking that did my locks, as I was building this business, I watched other professional um, Black women who were building hair empires like Marquetta has. And I really appreciated that because professionalism will get you everywhere. So, yes, I had to get stop the mic for a second and just shout you out. And thank you for catching me live. Uh, oh, I thought you said your name was Jessica, One Natural Life. I was like, what? Hi, it's One Natural Life. You're welcome. And I look forward to chatting more with you. So we're definitely, yes, indeed. But I mean, if you drop in the comments, if you agree on there are professionals that have invested years in education and knowledge to fine tune their craft, and we're always learning. We're always learning, especially as new trends go. Hi, Tanine. And so I just wanted to say that I'm not trying to preach from the mountain box, but I'm telling you, I'm I s I always say what I would want to hear. Before I put my money down in 2008, 2007 to secure my install for 2008, I was like lost and didn't understand what was happening. I was blessed to be placed in the hands of someone trusting that helped guide me in so many ways than just my hair. But I also know how vulnerable I was, and what hurts me is seeing people, and also people that come to me with experiences where they actually, didn't have a good experience, but then they also um, they're angry because they feel manipulated or taken advantage of, and I don't want that. Okay, so I'm gonna keep emphasizing quality over quantity when it comes to information sources. It's a beautiful thing when there's someone that's knowledgeable, they have 1 million followers, and they're really making a huge, wonderful, positive dent in the industry. But there's a lot of numbers that don't match. It's people with golden gems. I don't have a whole lot of followers for many reasons. Being that I was off of YouTube and had to be a single mama and deal with issues and things I didn't expect in my life. But it was also like I don't get deterred about putting quality information, and I also look at others the same way. Does that information make sense? Um, is my work going to make sense? I mean, the results I'm looking for, are they going to be able to be provided via this method? Okay, so I just wanted to say quality over quantity. Um, let me move this little thing off the screen. I'm gonna put myself on again. And y'all who know me, I'm a sociologist as well. I'm a social worker. I minored in sociology. I study the trends of people. I study group behavior, group think, hive behavior. I love to study people in groups. It's always in my mind. So when I watch something and I watch trends, not to say like I'm immune and I don't if something's cool, I'm like, oh, that's cool, but I see it for what it is. So I understand that fads, this is the typical cycle. They blow up really big or something happens. It looks really nice for the moment. If it's lacking substance, it will not stay because people will have they'll start to see the experience and then they'll jump off, right? They tend to burn themselves out faster, but things of quality and substance, usually isn't even sometimes not popular. If you notice what's right, what's the quote? What's right is what's popular is not always right. What's right is not always popular, kind of thing. But I just always want people to think about why, the reasons why, and what is it going to mean for me. Okay. Um, yeah, some more questions. But any more comments? So remember the four areas I was telling you about how to properly prepare, and then we'll get into the questions. So that is know your methods, know your tools, know your process, and know your support. And ask yourself questions. If you want to avoid potential problems and you're starting off or you're maintaining or you're switching, or even if you're going into business and you're incorporating a new skill, adding on something to what you're doing, the information that you are getting to help your skill will get the result. Has it been consistently proven long term? Is this something I've seen? Can I see this method that started these locks? Is there anything for more than 5 years? Like I know that for there wasn't over 10 years ago, there wasn't certain things being done. We didn't deal with as pros and behind the chair that now some pros are dealing with behind the chair that are walking in like problems people may be experiencing. So there's not a lot of data to show that certain things are going to create great results long term. What is the knowledge, experience, and background of the person, entity, claimant, authority? So I was going in because I was like, "Oh, these people are taking money from people, a lot of money. We've a lot of money. And I went transparent. I didn't really talk a lot about it, but we've had our own legal stuff. Like people will pop out of anywhere and they'll see an opportunity to capitalize. But I always say I've been shouting and talking about microlocs since I was in my 20s and I'm in my 40s. And anyone knows me knows consistently that I've been saying the same kind of points about making sure you have information, making sure you have high quality. So I just want people to, I've seen people, we've had to turn things into lawyers. I've seen people get upset for sending thousands of dollars for a training they thought was us, number one. And they're like, who are these people? They're saying this or that, and that goes on a deeper end. But it just anybody can say anything. I want you to just be more discerning because it, and what hair is very important to us in ways we don't think about until we have to go through life and have something happen, like a loss in our family or a job loss or something, and now we're worrying about our hair on top of the stress that's happened. Um, and does this information being shared confirm what I already know or experience? If someone's telling you, I'm going to pay me whatever to train you, and they're like, we're going to learn how to do braids or twists, like go take a braiding or twist class. There is an ideal standard method that is going to give you professional quality results, and it goes beyond that. And especially if you're not learning sufficient repair and refinement, you're setting yourself up to go down a course of how do I address this problem? It's looking this way, you know. So, girl, y'all, um, OMG, yes, you have. Proud you have kept the course. And a lot of times I'm like, what am I doing? And then I'm like, it's supernatural. I kid you, I dream about things. I wake up and I just wrote down 3 video ideas. And sometimes I don't act on it because I used to say, well, who's gonna listen if I don't have 1 million followers? Like I'm demonetized now on YouTube. Like YouTube is just like push you to the back. And I was like, okay. And it feels like you swim upstream. But I know every time I'm like, I'm getting ready to just forget this and just do all my other things. And then I get, kid you not, an email or a notification on a post or a video like, thank you for this information. I'm so happy it's been so helpful. I've been following you for a year. I'm like, okay, so those are the it takes one person or a few to say they find value. Anything, you too, whatever you do, stay the course if it really means a lot to you. It's bigger than just me saying, "Hey guys, do this or don't do this." So I'm going to judge you if you do this, but it's more about this is such a deeper experience, can be for a lot of us. We it really on deeper levels, not trying to get too deep as a therapist and social worker, but when we provide great services, especially in beauty and hair, it really helps us feel even more valuable. I think it affirms us. I don't think we need to replicate us being exploited or manipulated any more than what the society is already doing. I think that we show we care for ourselves when we care for other people, when we make investments. And this is really an opportunity for a lot of people to um, create businesses and change their families and have additional income. I'm watching people go through our program and explode in their business. That's like making double incomes as single mothers, um, doing consistently great work and building a foundation for a business that's going to be consistently good for 10, 15 years down the line. And that's the kind of thing that makes me say it's just more than just hair. But when an individual person goes out with great results, it's just it could spread like wildfire, and we can completely change our community. Okay, I'm gonna be social worker, but we can making a dent in the hair industry. The hair industry is one of the biggest industries, beauty and hair, that Black people, Black women invest in. So that's why I'm not I don't want us to just do things haphazardly or just all of a sudden pop up 1 million trainings trying to teach techniques that are teaching techniques the wrong way, that are creating more problems, that are just money grabs that'll disappear off the face of the earth or get cease and desist letter because they're copying or whatever the case is. And you're like, where'd it go? And you're like, but having something solid where you can point to and say, well, they believe in standards. Well, this is proof. These people are providing great results, and that's what matters to me. I get on my soapbox. I'm gonna get off. I think there's a couple more slides. Oh, yeah. So I was gonna show y'all pictures of things that just are problem. I'll make this bigger. Puffy locks, poor tension. Maybe even the sizing. It depends on what. Let me take this now so y'all can see. Um, it tends so the sizing is bigger here too, but if you want to know the difference between doing something with the loose tension or with a two-strand twist versus, what it could look like if it had a tighter tension. Um, this was a before of trying to go in and close up all that puffiness. Even a whole I think we got the roots and we were trying to slim this down. And this side wasn't even done on the right side. So it's just it's a lot of if that's first of all, these are getting into the realm of just big locks. So if you want it like smaller locks, really micro size, then there's a lot of factors that need to be taken into consideration for this person's density and everything else. So that's part of planning. What size are you looking for? Let me look at your hair texture. Let's look at a couple of factors and let's really have a combination of these things so that we can, based on what we're seeing here, so we can have you have it like that. If you want big traditional size locks, if that's what they're looking for, that's what they're looking for. I'm not judging, I'm not shaming. There's no faces being shown here. This is my studio. These are not pictures I grabbed. This is a picture from that person in my chair. That's my old logo back there, my old studio. And she gave me permission to take a picture of her hair so that we could track the progress. I can't find the other pictures. This was many years ago, but I did want to just show that this kind of puffiness comes out with a really loose tension. If that's not desired, there are ways to prevent that, and there are also ways to repair it too. Um, another repair. So this is what I used in the thumbnail photo. When I was trying to pull pictures of loose hair at the end, this was one of the pictures. Loose hair, sizing, I think, a lot of things I felt were off for this client and kinda created this recipe, even if she really wanted it small. Um, Having his hair loose like this at the end, so she has a repair. Another person, this is, again, my Brooklyn studio, and she came in for repair, and this was probably costing her more than her actual install, right? So, um, what's this, months or years in the pic before this one? You're talking about this pic, I think. I don't even remember. She wasn't that long. Um, I'm kinda trying to pull my brain for what I remember about this person. This was not that long. I feel like it might have been around a year to 2-year mark, maybe less than 2 years. Yeah. So, yeah, the foundation, everything was just kind of, now, if someone's hair is not fully locked and they do desire to take it out, this is she could have had her locks combed out. I wouldn't have necessarily recommended it, but it was still, like, at the point where she could have, but I think we wanted to do this as a rehab, so we were going in and closing up. And then this one, um, I think I have a picture, another picture in. Y'all, ooh, it was a lot of retightening that needed to be done, and then they were tiny, tiny, and then because her hair texture, it was doing this, like, matting all together. She has a similar hair texture of another client, um, whose hair who also had she didn't have it this severe, but she also had some of the similar problems because her curl pattern was really loose, um, and her hair was just a very, very wavy, loose kinda curl, and so what she needed to be mindful, like, we need to make sure all her hair was in there because if it wasn't, it was gonna do that, and it was gonna swell really big, and the curls, like, you literally could, like, pull them straight because they have bunched in a lot at the end. 'Cause they were just trying to curl back in. So, it just required knowing how to what could potentially happen in the process, let's say knowing your process, but also how to prepare for each session. Each session is kinda like a build on the one previous. So, it's like we set up this, um, we set up do her hair and set it up for the next session because now we know what we're going to be paying attention to. So even from the install, when I look at a hair texture, I'm already like, okay, we're gonna have to be mindful of X, Y, and Z. So way too small. That was an issue. I don't recommend going this small for this texture. I don't. If a client wants, there's a way to compromise and get really nice, refined, small. But this is just to have one or two like this because it's an area. This is even smaller than my locks, and, it tends the tighter the curl and coil, you tend to be able to go smaller, but, I wouldn't recommend going this small for someone whose hair was that loose. It was like 2 competing things, and that's what that poodle effect was gonna get her. So oh, I have a little lock quiz. Not every type of lock may be suitable. Oops. Oh, I wanna make it, like, half and half, it won't do it. Not every lock type, I believe, is suitable for everyone. So I do feel that, um, if you're like, "I don't really like, like, small, small locks, but I like, interwoven or interlocking," like, you can figure out so I have a little quiz, based on other things about your lifestyle, just based on who you are, finding what would be best for you. And it does require work. This does require, if you want a certain type of result, it does require consistency, work, knowledge, skill. Um, it's not, it's not like free forming it because then you might end up with, if certain things aren't kept on top, then it could be a problem or it could just be breaking. And if that's not the look you're going for, then you gotta know, can I commit to this? Can I commit to this type of thing? Is it gonna be good for me? So I would say you can try that quiz if you like. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Did that all in the mic. I think that's one of my last. I'll have a couple more slides. The most important time to do prevention is before you begin. Before you begin, don't just jump into something unprepared unless you are prepared. Not preparing is preparing to fail. So I've boiled things down in our even in our program or even just some of these lives, I'll boil it down to the key areas that you are wanting to focus on. And there's 3 areas that I think you should focus on for preparation. So that's you, your hair, and the environment, like the setting of you that you're gonna do, like what you need and everything. Those 3 areas. And then I break it down more in another time. But for prevention, the best way to fail is to fail to prepare. Oh, prevention. So for the best results, yeah, no random you can't just randomly do things without proper research and understanding the results if you want to have a certain outcome, right? Again, I always say the people who love to be creative with their own hair, I'm not necessarily talking to you to tell you what to do with your own hair. It is more for those who would like to invest this vast amount of time or money or energy that is required for this. This is a tiring service to do on yourself or to do on someone else. And I just feel like our time is valuable. Our money most definitely is valuable. I've seen a lot of people waste money. I've seen people on their second, third install. Yeah, I've seen more than comfortable. I've already had it. I took it out. I got it back in. Now it could be also the person that individuals do that, but um yeah. So I know I've been on long and I'm about to get off, but you will need to create a solid foundation for the best results. Y'all, we always have training. We're gonna go into prevention today in boot camp. All right. So additional training support boot camps are they're gonna be monthly. Boot camps are frequent. I just say that because we do group coaching, and I don't want to put too much on the table. It's already we got a lot going on this month with we starting group coaching. When people enroll, they'll get training, but the boot camp is on a regular basis. If you miss one, don't worry. We do the same. We have the same key points for the boot camp. We also have the free Facebook group, and we have a free webinar. I'll drop those links. But the info, all of those resources you can find on freemicrolottraining.com/info. And then, so I'm going to give y'all the webinar, though I think the webinar will be very good if you have not taken it to get like a good idea about like the program, the foundation. And that's the webinar. So it's freemicrolocktraining.com/webinar. And so freemicrolocktraining.com is the regular handle. That'll take you just put info for information, put webinar for webinar, put join for a Facebook group. And then also, we are in day 2 of our boot camp. We got a nice sized group. If you are in our community already, if you are already in our program, it's already free for you. You see it in the community. We have a separate outside of Facebook. We have a community called the Microloc Masters community, and we go live there. We do challenges there. We do a bunch of different things. So that's a part of anyone that joins the program has access. But the bootcamp members, you have special access this time to join to be in that space, and there's some recordings and things in there too. So if you missed it or you want to join it, if you join today, you just have to recap the replay for one day. But if you missed it and you want the full experience, just always know microlockbootcamp.com is how you can find out about the upcoming boot camps. Microlockbootcamp.com. Let me make this bigger. So some of y'all might have noticed we have been recapping on social media and YouTube the what we're talking about each day. So we talked about preparation yesterday, and we learned the tools, the system, and the techniques that are required to properly prepare for the best results. So I talked a little bit about that today in this live, just how that's important for you to prepare. And then today we will go over prevention, which we also talked about a few moments ago, and that's learning how to prevent the most common reported problems often overlooked by many. Locks unraveling and puffy ends and puffy locks are two of the most preventable things. Not only is you got prevention, but when we get through the boot camp, we talk about how to when we get through the training, we talk about how to actually repair that. We teach you how to repair that, but we will talk about that in our maintenance. But tomorrow we will be talking about installation, learn what it takes to master the perfect installation that ensures that your microlocks only get more strong and beautiful over time. That should be the goal. I don't necessarily like the term ugly phase or you have to suffer. No, but you'll be experiencing a changes in your hair as it progresses on the locking process, which is exactly what you want it to do. You want it to lock, you would just go in and help support its natural function of locking in this nice way where it now has a pattern and a foundation to lock beautifully. So you'll learn that um, tomorrow. And then day 4, we talk about maintenance tips, do's and don'ts to ensure the best results possible. And maintenance is very, very important. That's the most uh, like one of the things that is done the most. If anyone goes to get their hair done, installation one time. The maintenance is years. Could be years depending on how long you keep your locks in. And then grow and flourish on day 5. So we want to ensure that your hair is growing and flourishing because we can do all of that. But then what if there's things that happen that can interrupt that process, and we want to talk about that so we can have accelerated growth on our hair also in our business. So all of these steps are also applied to if someone is looking to actually get certified. And I'll say certification because you may not take the certification, turn it into a business. You might just want the certification to have under your belt. But some people would like to add this in a professional capacity. And there's some really, really important things, especially going forward with how people are actually I'm watching a shift in the past 2 years. I've been 3 years now. I've been talking live. I've noticed a shift in our requests for people. Have the wording has changed. People are becoming more specific about trained people through a credible. I'm hearing credible training program. I'm hearing through our program. Can we just so there's going to be a lot I think that is going to be important to do so that you can sustain and maintain like long-term success and not just be like a flash in a pan for a moment, but have what you need to really, yeah, stay the course. Folks trying to rush the process. Yeah, test our patience. Nothing tests your patience like this or running a business or having a job. um, it's just like and then I try not, I guess maybe that's what a combination of my mental health background, my experience going through it too helps because it's kind of like I understand. I understand there's a lot that's triggered on this that you don't even think about. You got to be vulnerable sometimes, and you also have to go through. And a lot of times, people like me as well, I'm impatient sometimes. I had to learn patience through a lot in my life. And also when you're facing people with your hair, you wanna make sure that you're patient, but that it's happening the way it should too. So, um oh, yay. Well, I'm not really the boot camp's already started, but y'all, every day the group that's in boot camp now, your books are already available, your workbook for day 2, you have your module opened up, your replay is up. So you log in actually to an online portal, where you can access this information, and then you have a separate access to a community. So you have like two platforms that you get with when you do the boot camp. And I'm gonna do that prize, mini supply kits and a whole bunch of things. So we looking out. And Mina has joined us. We have one of our certified pros. Usually have two. Tosha's also one that are coaches right now. We're gonna bring on some more coaches. So I think yeah, that's the last slide. So it was great talking with y'all today. And before I go, any more questions? Anything else? You want me to recap anything? Right? I'll go ahead and put the um, best ways to prepare and prevent. Know your methods. Know your tools. Know your process. Know your support. You will have great results just implementing those things. Don't rush. Quality can never be rushed. Rushed looks like we can see rushed. I can see rushed when I do rush anything. Even when I rush these presentations, I'm like, I have slides out of order. I'm stumbling. But when I prepare and take my time, anything. And so I feel like this is such a gift. We can, y'all, I feel like the audience can understand how important hair is for us. Like, who cares what other people think? We know how important it is for us. And so I feel like you get it when I say, like, getting the very best. It can matter to you. Like, have at least having what you want. The best is what you determine to be the best for you, and giving yourself the opportunity to have a great experience with the least amount of stress so we can get through life stronger. Um, if you like me and you're a single mama and your support system is, you need all your strength. I need to wake up and go. And I love that I can, if there's something I can feel good about, that I feel good about it. If, you know, just putting these curls, it was like, I remember I used to struggle because I have very thin struggle. I have struggle edges. Yeah, everybody sees, and my edges are always nappy. That's just my natural hair, and I never had long hair. And it was just like I would think about that. I'm like, wow, like what a difference! It feels different to get excited about like putting curls in my hair or something, and I transform. I look like Ancient Mima in the morning, like I'm about to clean your house, and then I would go out. I would have my bonnet on and everything, and then I take the curls and put makeup on, and it's like amazing. It's like I feel great, and that's a small thing, but it matters, and it matters. It can matter for anything, but when it comes to having great results, I just feel like it's so much more to this discussion than me. Uh, just talking about hair, because it never is always just hair. It's a whole person, usually a Black woman, attached to it with a whole bunch of experiences and life to live and things that she has to be responsible for. And so and then also those who are building businesses, I always just hold you, be accountable for being your very, very best, because we want to be a positive force here in this industry. We don't want to be desperate or trying to, do things without thinking things through, because it is actually more damaging to you and whoever um, whose hair you're doing. So intention is very important as well. Hey y'all, hope you have a great, a great Monday, and I'll see you on the boot camp later. Thanks for joining. Bye.